How to build your team in Genshin Impact. I will tell you that today. For sure, many of you did wonder how to fight using 4 characters and how to build them if you can use only one each time. So basically the truth is that you need to use specialized characters. What exactly do I mean by this? Each character since the beginning is created for some reason. For example, Jean has a healing skills and basically a support, allowing her to knock an enemy down, stun, or throw them to water. So, for example, Thunder Priest is a healing skill, but also dealing some animal damage on entering and exiting the skill. And also the Wind Companion is the healing skill, which is really good. Jean is dealing damage by normal attacks, and it has a 50% chance to regenerate HP. So you can say that she's basically a healer, but I can say that since she has a healing skills, that doesn't mean that she needs to be a healer. Her skills are also good for DPS, but comparing her to Dillac, we can see that he's much more suitable to be primary DPS since his skills are basically damage ones. And here we have example of the Searing Onslaught, performing a forward slash that deals pyro damage and can be used only 3 times. Now we can see some difference in everything, that the support skills and damage skills are basically different of the way of using them, which I will explain a bit later. So we can ask, what is the composition? What is a good composition for a team? And I can tell you that this depends from your characters which you have and how you want to use them. For myself, I'm using Quirishul as my main DPS, which is basically more suitable for playing support. Xianlin, though, is my second DPS and support. Mona is a buffer and debuffer support. And Jean is a healer support. With this team, I'm able to heal myself, kill most of the enemies, even if their elements are different, and I can also stun them using Mona Ult and buff my damage. So here you can see something that can define character to be a good support, and once you play a team like this, you just switch to each character using their skills, but not literally fighting them to deal the damage. Their skills are staying active even when you switch your character, so that means we should care more about recharge skills, elemental damage, and effects of artifacts which can increase damage of the main DPS in the team than about the damage in each of the characters, right? Because we are mostly fighting as a one character, we are mostly using one character to deal the damage, and the other ones are just supporting him, protecting, or healing. Healer characters we can consider also using some healing bonuses like I did on my Jean, though this build is not yet finished, right? But that's always something, the healing effectiveness 50% and using an elemental skill or burst increasing healing received by all party members by 20% for 10 seconds. That's also a good bonus, though I think for her also better artifacts like the Momento. Let's check the name of this artifact because I forgot the name. And yeah, Monarch is it? Okay. And that's the Royal Silver Urn, which is basically the part of the Noblesse Oblige. Here we can see the elemental burst damage plus 20%, and we can also see the 4-piece set using an elemental burst, increasing all party members' attack by 20% for 12 seconds. And this is a really good skill, as you can see. You can just use the elemental burst attack and switch to the main character, which deals DPS, and he has much more damage when you're fighting. That's also how her ult work. We can see her ult here, talents, Starry's Phantasm. Illusionary Bubble. This basically stuns them, and when it removes, it illusion bubble dealing hydro damage in the process. And during its duration, increases damage taken by opponents. And we can check the attributes here. And here is the illusionary bubble explosion damage, which is kinda a lot. And the damage bonus 46%. And here the thing is that it's just on the 3rd level, so it can be even more. And the cooldown or measure duration, we should take care of the charging this skill really much, so that's why I'm using the recharging things on her, which is basically on her weapon, the Fafinius Codex, which is giving the energy recharge, and thanks to this she's much more capable to use her ultimates, right? From the KO characters, for example, Noel is a character which can provide a shield and also healing. So when you're making the composition where your characters are a kind of piece of paper, so you will just throw something at them and the damage is horrible big, or when you are bad at the evading damage, you can use her shield to protect your main DPS. Same with Zhongli, which I don't have yet. He has even much more C-table skills, and maybe I will make an episode about this, but for now let's focus on this topic. So let's back for a moment to skills which are giving the damage or increasing the damage. One of the skills has a visual and also examine, and it's basically leaving some minion like the crown, which will constantly deal some kind of electro damage by some time. And her ult is also the buff one, which also gives the status of the electro, right? And dealing the damage that 12, what am I saying? 260%. Moving to Xianlin, she has a Goba attack, which is basically spawning the beer using the flamethrower, dealing the constantly damage. I mean, not constantly, because they are basically shooting this damage, so this is for some amount of time and when they will hit the enemy, right? So this is not like they will hit that all the time. It's possible to avoid this attack, but since the enemies are not that smart, then it's really effective to use them. She has also a good ultimate, which can be used even when you will switch the character. The Pyronado, it's spinning around for some time, with each swing dealing damage. Duration is 10 seconds. Pyronado damage is, as you can see, 148%. And Koba has also ability to leave a pepper, right? And where is the pepper? Here. When Koba attacks FX ends, it leaves a pepper, and it will increase your damage by attack, basically by 10% for 10 seconds. So that's basically make her a support character, because her skills and visual skills also are staying on the battlefield after switching to other character, and When you are using the other character, you can use the DPS one, which is basically has effect just the time when you're using this character, like the dialogue, for example, right? So, what you want your team to look like at the end? I would say the composition of the main DPS, sub DPS, some support which deals DPS, giving the shield, and the healing one is kinda a good composition, like not perfect. It will give you needed defense, needed heal, and damage to kill basically everything in the game. So let's not forget about the elemental resonance effects. This basically means that your composition of team can also depend from the type of enemies you're fighting with and bonuses which you want to get from this elemental resonance. For example, if you want the pyro bonus fervent flames, you need to have 2 pyro characters in your team. This is especially useful when you want to fight some certain enemy. For example, the ice flower, the Creo flower. You can make your team like 2 fire, 2 pyro, which will give you the perfect flames affected by Creo for 40% less time, increasing attack by 25%. And if you want, you can also contain 2 other characters with the same element, like for example the Electro, which combines with fire pretty good, and get the bonus that Hydro, you're less affected by Hydro. Super Contour Overloaded and Electro charges have 100% chance to generate an Electro Elemental Parsicle. I can't spell that properly. Particle. Okay, never mind. You know what's going on. You can see that on the screen. So conclusion of that is that you should specialize each characters by analyzing their talents, statistics, and constellations. It can be really effective to improve your power of our characters as a team and make much easier to do. So that's all for this episode. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed the video, give me a thumb up, like video, leave the comment below and subscribe for more. So lucky wishes and see ya.